Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another rant. Because I haven't been doing a lot of rants in a row, so well, I haven't, but just trying to get back into find out what other horrible films I can just what I have in my whole collection. So this one I haven't reviewed. This one I have not reviewed. So and this film is an absolute total piece of shit. So why not review this one? Now, it's a film that came out in 2013, and that is going to be R.I.P.D. Now, R.I.P.D. Like I said, it came out in summer 2013, and it bombed badly. It's one of the big well on the list. It's one of the biggest flops of 2013, but maybe if not one on the top list of the biggest flops ever. And this film was just absolutely horrible. And I got this on, well, I think thank goodness I did not see it in the theater, because otherwise I would have wasted my money. And thank God I'm glad that I did not see this in the theater. I only got this like afterwards when it came out on DVD, like, well, sometime after it came out on DVD. So, but I got it cheap. I didn't waste like $10 on this thing. It's not even worth $10 to get, but I got it cheap. So that's the reason why I got it. But okay, now R.I.P.D. Okay, it's based on a comic book, and it's based on from Dark Horse comic book. It's Dark Horse that did other films that did came based on Dark Horse. The Mask, which is much better than the movie than this, and Hellboy 1 and 2, which I enjoy both those movies. I think also there was the late '90s movie called Virus. That was one with Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Sutherland. I believe that's also a Dark Horse comic that was made into a film. The only thing I got out of it from that film was the visual effects looked nice, but that was about it. But and The Mask and Hellboy 1 and 2 are obviously way much better films than this. And it stars Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds. And it's directed by Robert Schwentke, or how to pronounce his last name. Which he has directed the first Red movie with Bruce Willis, which I like the first one. The sequel, not so good. I think he's also directing the sequels to what was it what was it? It's the new series of Divergent. That's what it was. He didn't direct the first one, but he's directing the sequels to Divergent. He directed the sequels Insurgent, now the upcoming one Allegiant, Part 1 and Part 2. But this film, okay. Now, like I said, if it bombed badly over the weekend in the summer, it came out in July. There was like four other there was like three or there were like those two other films that came out, because I remember, because I went to see a different movie which was much better than this movie on that same weekend. The film opened up the same weekend as the DreamWorks animated film. Where was it? Turbo. Yeah, Turbo, which also starred Ryan Reynolds the same weekend, and also the Conjuring, and on top of that, the sequel Red 2. So it was like four films, new releases on that weekend, and ultimately The Conjuring was the number one film for that weekend. And actually, that was one I saw during that weekend with my brother and his friend. So, The Conjuring is much better than this. Just throwing that out there. But it debuted number 7 and made 33 domestically and worldwide 78 million on a budget of 130 million. And right off, I would say This film didn't look like it cost about 130 million. I couldn't see that on the screen, and it was as very low ratings as like as a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes, and for some reason it has a 5.6 on IMDb, which I think why should be much more lower. And R.I.P.D, of course, title R.I.P.D stands for Rest in Peace Department. Other supporting characters, you have Mary-Louise Parker, is like the one who's in charge of the Rest in Peace Department. And you have Kevin Bacon in the film. And okay, for one, I want to get one of the okay, the premise of the film. Okay, Ryan Reynolds, he's a cop, and he's partnered with Kevin Bacon, and they have stolen this gold, and Ryan Reynolds he wants to keep the gold because he wanted to help, I guess, for like money problems, I would say, but then you see he's regretting that they didn't want to steal it, and so it comes to this of course you know that Kevin Bacon is obviously the bad guy in the film, and when there's this raid in this warehouse, and then Kevin Bacon says because he wants the gold, right? So there's the raid in the warehouse, and of course he shoots Ryan Reynolds. Okay, but then he gets shot and he gets brought back to life. He's entered into probably the afterlife, but it's called R.I.P.D. Now, of course, there is another film that is very similar to this. That film had the idea first. This film took ideas from this film, which I thought I got much more entertainment, much more fun out of, where dead cops come back to life. If anyone doesn't know, I'm pointing out this film, Dead Heat, with Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo. I had a lot much more fun with this movie than that movie. And this is a film about for most of the whole film, it was Treat Williams. He's a cop and he was killed and he got brought back to life. Then later, Joe Piscopo was. But the concept of this, dead cops coming back to life, I got much more fun out of. And this is done back in the what was the year? Seems like it looks like 1996, but and this film, you compare it to this film did not look like it cost that much money to make, while this film cost 130 million. More good ideas from this film than this film, because this film not only is like a ripoff of this film, but it rips off everybody says rips off other films, which I'll get to, but that film is much more better and much more fun to watch. And when Kevin Bacon he shoots Ryan Reynolds, he falls all CGI, and he all the way down to the ground, and he falls down head first and lands on his head, which I would say is the most fakest death fall I've ever seen, because he's falling CGI and it lands right on his head. His head does not split, when you fall head first, your head should crack open or something, blood spurting out, That does not happen. That's not the reality of when you fall to your death. Nothing comes out of it. You fall head first, and you probably your head just smashed wide open, blood everywhere. But no, and plus this is PG-13 as well, while this one was rated R. Yeah, so this didn't help it being rated PG-13 when you fall to your death, and which the fall was so fake and CG. That was the most fakest looking death falls I've seen. That's also the main issue. The CG in this film is so horrible in this movie, and this film cost 130 million. for a film that costs 130 million, your CG should not be so bad. So, and then when he wakes up and everything is standing still, okay, it's a good looking shot where everything is standing still. But I'm sure that's been done so much before from other films in the past. I'm betting. And then he's going up and like, and then he talks with Mary-Louise Parker. Says he's in the R.I.P.D. Talking with catching these things called the Deados is what they're called, the Deados. Um. The problem is I just don't see how this film costs 130 million. I just don't see it. That's the problem. And the Deados, the CG of the Deados are so horrible as well. Lackluster, more positively speaking. Like, okay, he sees all the Deados. One's trying to escape, and Jeff Bridges comes in and shoots one. How do you get rid of these things? You shoot him in the head, in which they disappear into this like mist, like. And there's another thing that goes to other ripoffs. You know, this film also like a ripoff of Men in Black. You know, which I could see, and also like there was also saying that it was also ripoff of Ghostbusters as well. I could definitely see that as well. Men in Black and Ghostbusters definitely probably the two main ones that this film was like basically like a rip off from, because they use a lot of references from those movies as well. But you know, it's like when when they shoot, you're supposed to shoot them in the head, and that's what they erased from this mist. And Men in Black was much better when you shoot these things. They have these big old blasters, and they shoot like from the first movie, shooting at this thing, blowing up in goopy bits. Tommy Lee Jones used to say, tell him Whistle, just shoot the damn thing. And which, by the way, yeah, the partnership in Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith are much better like chemistry as partners than these two in this film, because I saw no chemistry between as partners between Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges. I could not see that at all. The partners with Trey Williams and Joe Piscopo was much better. And same thing with Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith in Men in Black. So, and it's also PG, and plus that film has a lot I would say bloody as well, but this is PG-13, so you get no blood of anything of any sort, and so that doesn't help the case at all. I just wish there's such a if you want to do like a dead cop coming back to life, you should take notes from this movie. Like when Treat Williams came back, he was like his skin was like all deteriorated, like he's a zombie cop and stuff, and they don't do that here. But what can you do? And that was like how many years between these two films? Didn't build up ideas, to create a really good zombie cop and stuff. That would've been cool. That would've been a cool idea for you want to do it in modern time, all practical with makeup instead of this bad CGI shit. But probably what took more longer instead of taking cutting corners instead of just doing all completely computer generated effects, instead of just taking the time and do stuff, with models and makeup and stuff. This is the definition of being lazy. And that's another thing. I would say I call this a very lazy movie. I would definitely say that. That's another term wherever I could describe this movie: lazy, boring. And it's not only the director, but the writers of these movies is also created a very lazy script as well. So I think one of the writers helped write on The Tuxedo, which was the star Jackie Chan and Jennifer Love Hewitt. I'm not the biggest fan of The Tuxedo, but really, The Tuxedo. And I forgot that there was another person that wrote another film. Uh, but yeah. Oh yeah, the other one was I think the other one wrote on Clash of the Titans as well. I would say Clash of the Titans is a much better adaptation than this movie. The 2010 remake, I did not mind that movie, but not the sequel. But like I said, this whole film is like a Men in Black slash Ghostbusters ripoff. And the humor in this film was not funny. The stuff in the other films I mentioned were much more funnier, like Ghostbusters, Men in Black, Dead Heat. The humor in those movies were much more funnier. Like okay, like the humor is of okay, so in when you now that he's dead, Ryan Reynolds will no longer look like him. Like to the people in the real world, he doesn't look like himself or sound like himself. So, what was the term called? A- Avatar. Really, I had to use that word, avatar. So Ryan Reynolds, when he's out in the real world, he doesn't look or sound like himself. He's now an old Chinese. He looks and sounds like an old Chinese guy, which is really enough. Sadly enough, it's played by James Hahn. Really enough. So yeah, the Ryan Reynolds' avatar is James Hahn. Wait, when I'm saying why, I like James Hahn as an actor, and as I said, why I had to see him in this. Yeah, he's Ryan Reynolds' avatar, James Hahn, an old Chinese guy, and then of course Jeff Bridges' avatar is a totally hot chick. And you see, like, the time you see, like, guys are just looking, yeah, it's a joke. She's a hot chick, and guys are just looking at her. Ooh, I get it. So the joke that running joke was not that funny the first time when I first saw this. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, but okay, moving on. Let's see. Ryan Reynolds tries to because they go to his funeral, and he tries to go to his wife, but all she sees is James Hahn. Um, then he goes to like a an exercise for him. Like they go to this apartment to visit this one guy who suspect you know Stanley Nowicki. We're with the Department of Health. We suspect that you might be dead. Which is fun. Also, one thing I rather mention in the when I first saw the trailer, there was one scene that was not in the movie. There was a scene that was in the trailer that was not in the movie is when Jeff Bridges is talking to like this one deado with multiple eyes, and he says, "Damn, I don't know what eyes to shoot you between," and shoots it. Where was that scene? I have no idea where that scene was because that was in the trailer, but not in the movie. So just to throw that out there. He and then he's interrogating this guy, and for some reason, the way to expose the deado is by with Indian food. For some reason, Indian food makes them show who they really are. Okay, Indian food. Uh, I mean, Jeff Bridges is just he was like talking with food in his mouth, like whatever. He's talking with food in his mouth. Jeff Bridges has done better. Has done better stuff. Just seeing him, he's all goofy and makes him look like a well. He's done better stuff like The Big Lebowski, True Grit the remake. But he's got a lot of praise for Crazy Heart. You see him in those movies, and he's going to play this goofy because his character is from the 1800s because he was a sheriff and he was killed by his partner, and how he died. He says that the coyotes dragged his body away. Um, and and how these things look like the Deado is always looking more like messed up, big and messed up looking, and the CGI is so horrible to watch. I mean, the past films what I've seen that the CGI looked better than this. Um, what the films I thought the CG was not that great, but I would say they look better than the CG in this film. I would definitely. Oh, okay. Last year, the CG in the whatever CG that was in last year. Jurassic World, I would say. I would just throw that out. Jurassic World. The effects in the dinosaurs were much better than this in this here, and that was like 150 million. This is 130, so there was a little more effort put into that. But that CG in that film was better than this, and this cost 130 million. Or well, how about another? How about another one? Um, or even the effects in Men in Black. The CG in Men in Black was better, or Ghostbusters miles better. Uh, This is like the main complaint. The CG in this film is so horrible. I just don't see how a $130 million budget film costs that much, and the CG is so horrible. It's so much more fake than all the ones that I've seen that with much lower budgets look better. That's another film, Constantine, which that film gets a lot of crap on, and the effects in Constantine were much more spectacular than this film. Especially the representation of hell and all the other effects in that film, where there were much better movie effects than this movie. Constantine is much better than this film. I'm saying definitely with a straight face. Constantine better than R.I.P.D. And that's a comic book movie that I absolutely love. This is a comic book that I've never heard of when this film came out. I never heard of R.I.P.D. So the Ditto is chasing, and it falls. Like Jeff Bridges pushes Ryan Reynolds out the window, like straddling him like a horse. Hee-haw. All of them falling down in CGI land and stuff. Horrible. And which, by the way, that's another term that was in the trailer, which they altered in this movie. Like in the trailer, when when he pushes Ryan Reynolds out the window, he says, "Don't tense up." And the same thing, but I guess they altered the dialogue. Says "relax body" instead. So they shoot him. The guy coughs up. The Deado coughs up more gold. It looks familiar to Ryan Reynolds. Shoot him, and this is at least the CG was just horrible. I just cannot bypass the CG, the horrible CGI in this movie. Uh, then they say they suspect the gold, and then eventually Ryan Reynolds suspects that Kevin Bacon is involved in it, and they follow Kevin Bacon, go see his wife, and finds the gold that Ryan Reynolds took. And then they follow him some more to give the gold to pass it to this other guy, who's just like, as he's called, Fat Elvis, to say. They get him. They try to tell him to spill the beans, but then he sniffs some of this Indian spice powder, and horrible CG transformation. He's this big fat Elvis Deado. My God, I just cannot stand I just cannot freaking stand the CG in this movie. It's just so annoying as hell to see this movie. It's so fake looking. I know I'm keeping repeating myself so many times, but when you watch a film when the CG that costs 130 million is like so faker than hell, it's hard to watch this. It's hard to watch through this movie. Okay, so they chase the horrible CG Deado. Like goes and flies like this on top of the side of a building, running. They're chasing into a building, at least one thing leads to another. And top of the elevator shaft goes through the roof. They manage to get the gold, but the Deado runs away, and it's on the news. Wherever the thing is, Mary-Louise Parker gets pissed at them, and this place called Final Judgment sends them this golden tube with a message saying the gold they collected is like what was it called, the Tower or something of, or called Jericho, whatever it is. It's this tower of gold that brings down all the Deados from up there all the way down into Earth. So basically it's a doorway basically, and also Ryan Reynolds. I always said about Jeff Bridges, who talks and acts goofy. Ryan Reynolds, just the look in the whole entire his look in his I could talk right. His face throughout the whole entire movie is just like plain and boring. You know, it's like he's looking like he's freaking bored with the movie. You can see it on his face. Right there, you can tell he looks so bored in this movie. I mean, I'm sure, well, of course, but everyone's praising him for Deadpool, which is I'm sure everybody will forget about his performance in this movie, as they did with Green Lantern, which I would say Green Lantern is a much better movie than this. That's another film that gets shit on a lot. And people still to this day are still shitting on the film, Green Lantern. Better comic book movie than this, and better with Ryan Reynolds in it. I'm sorry. I know I'm sorry, but I still actually like the Green Lantern movie still. I know people will probably get pissed at me, but I'm sorry. The effects in Green Lantern are still much more better than this movie. But at the end of the day, yes, it's just a movie. I should calm down. But I'm sorry, but I shouldn't calm down when I'm watching such a craptastic movie with a big budget, and with your CG is so thicker that it looks bigger than if the budget was cost like much less than that. Okay. And there's another thing with the Deados. You see that I heard the Kerbal so effects with a burp and fart. Yes, ha ha ha. Which I told you before. Which I said before. I hate fart jokes. They're not funny the least bit. I'm trying to think of other comic book movies that the CG is much better. Like I said, Green Lantern, Constantine, or oh yeah, what about this is another one that yeah, I think it's yeah, there it is. 1 second, let me go get it. This is another comic book movie that nobody ever talks about. This movie, Leave Extraordinary Gentlemen. I forgot this was based on a comic book movie. I don't think it's DC, but I know I think it's based on a graphic novel, I believe. This is another one that I think the effects in this looks better with better characters. I don't think there's another people that people don't talk about anymore. Sean Connery is a much better lead than anybody in this movie. Yeah. The effects in this movie is much better than R.I.P.D. I totally forgot about this. I totally forgot about this was based on a comic book. I forget. This is what happens when bad movies start to affect me. I'm starting to forget about certain, what belongs with which. So, yeah, that's another one I think is much better. So, so they were gonna no longer get boot off the case, and they have no other to do. Ryan Reynolds goes to see his wife again, tries to talk to her, but she starts freaking out because what she sees is James Hahn, and that's really him. But he's trying to tell her that he's him. And then they start talking about Kevin Bacon, what is his ties and all this, and they suspect that he's a Deado because he wears this St. Christopher medal to hide that he is a Deado. So they go to his house. They find him because he has another piece of gold there, and which he is. But they take him back to the R.I.P.D. station, and they have he throws in this other device in this evidence room that says that he says that it's like a metal sphere, which for some reason reminds me of Guardians of the Galaxy, when the metal orb that contains the one of the gems, the metal that it was in a metal sphere. It just or orb. It's gonna remind me of Guardians of the Galaxy. But it's a device. It doesn't affect Deados, but it makes everybody freeze. Freeze. And they see all the gold. They get out. They go to a certain place to start building the thing, and so they start shooting some Deados. They take Kevin Bacon holds Ryan Reynolds as a wife hostage. He reveals himself to be a Deado, which he's not as messed up like all the other Deados are. Like, he's like a little bit on his face and a little bit of his head is split open. They start driving their car. And like all these orange wormholes are opening up, and Jeff Bridges says, "Holy shit!" Why he's talking like this? Like his, I don't know. Yeah, and with the more horrendous CGI, it's even worse when all the buildings starts to get sucked into these wormholes. All completely green screen. You can definitely tell it's all green screen. So fake. Then they shoot some more Deados. They run into the Fat Elvis Deado and they shoot him. Then they get up to the build. Well, okay, here's another thing. This is a ripoff of. They ripped off Ghostbusters. When they get to the building, I guess the elevators don't work, and they have to go climb all the way up the stairs, and you see a wide shot of all those stairs, and because Jeffers goes, "Oh shit." And he just shows all the stairs. There's your reference of Ghostbusters right there when they had to climb all the stairs. But you don't see them climb stairs, but you get the reference of that from Ghostbusters. So then Kevin Bacon stabs Ryan Reynolds' wife because they need like a sacrifice, the blood of innocence, whatever, to open up the gate. And they start. It's a CGI fest of them shooting all these Deados left and right, and then Ryan Reynolds tries to fight Kevin Bacon, while Jeff Bridges tries to, which is because a truck flew onto the roof somehow, and he's trying to use that to pull and make it fall on the staff or tower or whatever, at which it's that easy to destroy. If it's made out of gold, it's that easy to destroy. Just need to pull on it. And then that gets destroyed, and Kevin Bacon looks to him. Ryan Reynolds says, "Well, partner." And it cuts to his avatar, James Hahn, saying, "I already have a partner." Or another one with James Hahn, the avatar, when Ryan Reynolds got hit by a car, and James Hahn goes, "I'm okay. Nothing to see. Gotta go." I like James Hong, but I just didn't. It's probably say it's off for him in this movie, even if he's playing an avatar, which I'm tired of hearing that word describe an avatar. Why couldn't you better use a word as a way to describe himself, like body double or something like that. But he's called Grandpa Chen as his name is called, but yeah, James Hahn, yeah. So he says, "I already have a partner," and shoots Kevin Bacon in the head. And then everything is standing still again. Now his wife is able to see not James Hahn, but actually Ryan Reynolds. And then she's in the hospital, and Mary-Louise Parker is there. She gives back Jeff Bridges' hat because earlier Ryan Reynolds threw him against a bus and he lost his hat. My hat! My hat! So this is how the way he talks and the way he acts. Jeff Bridges' act is way too goofy in this movie. But Mary-Louise Parker finds his hat and gives it back to him. And I guess, she bites onto his Jeff Bridges goatee, and as I said, that's something they used to do back in the day. He's like, she Billy goated me, something that we used to do. So, and then gives and of course the other joke is that another joke I didn't think funny that Ryan Reynolds gets a new I'm not using avatar, I'm using body double. I'm not gonna use the word avatar. I will say body double. Instead of he's no longer grabbed by champions, now he's a little Girl Scout. And they drive off, and that's it. So, I hate this movie. It's just this I'm like definitely say this film deserved a bomb. This film deserved a bomb. Deserved all the negative reviews, which I'm surprised this film didn't get nominated for any. I'm surprised this film didn't get nominated for any Razzies. I'm surprised this film didn't get nominated for any of those. I'm surprised. I'm surprised this film didn't get nominated for Razzies. But this movie is a horrendous, boring, lazy film. Jeff Bridges is how he just talks way too goofy in this movie. It sounds like he's like talks after his freaking marble in his mouth, like he talks like this. Not muffled by it's like you know. Ryan Reynolds, he looks completely bored in this film. You can see it on his face. Even as far as he isn't totally surprised that he's dead when he first died. He's like, okay, I'm dead. I'm in R.I.P.D. Okay. Doesn't have a big reaction that he actually died. Definitely you can see why he acts so bored in this movie. Kevin Bacon, there's not much to him. This generic bad guy. And Wish the Bad Guys, I've always enjoyed Kevin Bacon, but he's done better stuff. Even he's done better bad guys. But the humor I did not find funny. Yeah, the joke with Jeff Bridges' character, he's a hot chick, and guys are staring at her, you know. And yeah, I totally get it. I totally got it the first time. Yes, I know. Some of the avatars like they burp and farts. That's not funny the least bit. Other humor I just didn't think was funny. The main issue is that the CG in this film was so horrendous. It looks so fake in this movie. I just can't stand to watch with. This is definitely one of the worst films. This definitely is. I would say put on my top list of the worst CG I've ever seen. And it's not excusable when the film costs $130 million. The CG should not look as bad. It should be much more better. But it's not excusable when that film. Plus, on top of that, I definitely didn't see how this one cost $130 million. I just couldn't see it. So especially the Deados, look at them. The Deados are so fake. Especially the fat Elvis guy, or when Ryan Reynolds, when he fell to his death, he lands on top of his head, but no blood or anything because it's PG-13. That's one of the fakest looking death falls I've seen. When you land on your head, it's logic. When you land on your head, straight down, you should be able to get blood because your head should just burst open when you land head first. It looks like a cartoon when it's like boink. He just lands splat like it should. When it was funny when they should have done. If it's like a cartoon, they should have made like a splat sound effect when he landed. Boink. I'm not surprised that, well, this film does not have features. Why there's no features on this film? I have no idea why. But at least this film does have features. But this one has deleted and altered scenes, gag reel, and the making of R.I.P.D. The characters are so forgettable. And you can see right there James Hahn right there. It's sad to see him in this movie because I've always enjoyed him. from Big Trouble in Little China, his voice in Kung Fu Panda, and among other stuff he's been in. Kevin Bacon, he's played better bad guys. Ryan Reynolds, comic book wise, well, he's getting all the praise as playing Deadpool right now, but comparing this to Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds is better in Green Lantern than this movie. I'm just comparing, because everybody hates that movie, but comparing this to Green Lantern is much better. The effects are much better than this. But and for film based on a Dark Horse comic book, The Mask is much better. The effects, the effects in The Mask are cartoony and such, but it is much better than this. And that was in 1994. And the budget in that film did not cost $130 million. The Mask is much better. It didn't cost that much with better effects. Hellboy 1 and 2 are way much better than this movie. Just reading up what stuff on here. Film critic, I'm not gonna say the name, gave the film 1.5 stars, calling it the worst comic book movie adaptation since Jonah Hex. And which I would agree on that. I would even agree this is the worst comic book adaptation since Jonah Hex. Which, Jonah Hex, which you can go back on my review on that film. It's a review and a rant, but Jonah Hex I would say is much better than R.I.P.D. Or they also mentioned they mentioned rip-offs of Men in Black and Ghostbusters, which I said, and they even mentioned Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck, considered one of the worst movies of all time, which I would say not, because I've seen much more worse. Howard the Duck is actually much better than R.I.P.D. I would even say. Like, even there's the scene of Howard the Duck where in the opening where the rest of the Dark Overlords came in. I would say they probably R.I.P.D. stole an idea from that, because how the gateway where all the dead are supposed to come down. Howard the Duck, the gateway where all the Dark Overlords coming out. I think they stole from that as well. All these films, Dead Heat, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I would even say Green Lantern, Jonah Hex, Howard the Duck, like a lot of these films are considered horrible. I would say they're even much better than this, and even the effects I would say is much better than this. Even some of those acting, this film is way much better, and this is the idea that came first. They should have taken they taken notes from and could have made a better cop coming back to life, but no. PG-13, no blood, fake as hell effects, humorless humor. This film deserved to bomb. This film did. I'm glad the film bombed. I'm glad I didn't go to the theater to see it. Otherwise, I would have wasted my money, and I would have walked out and said, "Give me my money back." So yeah, this film, it's fitting how the title R.I.P.D. But take out the D. Yeah, take out the D. RIP, R.I.P. Yeah, rest in peace. R.I.P.D. Because your film sucked. You should be dead and buried. Yeah, here. I'll bury it right here among these other films. On top, put it at the bottom among these other films that are much better. So yeah. I'm going to 45 minutes. I didn't want to be this long of a rant, but it deserves it. So I hope you enjoyed my long rant on R.I.P.D., which sucked. But if anybody likes the film, it's cool. I'm not gonna bash at you for it. I'm not gonna make fun of you for it. It's your choice. But in my opinion, this film sucked. sucked big time, and it deserved to bomb. That's all. That's all I can say. Uh, I'll just go back watch. They say I'll just go back watch the films that they ripped off from. I'll rather watch Ghostbusters. I'd rather watch Men in Black. I'd just rather go watch Dead Heat. So, and I'm glad they did not make a sequel, because I could definitely see this would have been I could definitely see that this could have been a franchise. I could have seen that, which I'm glad it's not anymore. But the characters you can find with better chemistry, or partners, you could say, like Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo, or Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith, or Bill Murray with Dan Aykroyd, Hal Ramis, and Ernie Hudson. But the film sucks, so that's all I can say. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.